Hello there, happy Sunday, folks. Hope you've had a good weekend so far. It's about to be over, depending on where you are. But mine's been really good. We are back at labbing, and we already got show checking in. Show IP interface brief. Hopefully, weather printout might be flying down there. Okay, awesome, man. Yeah, we might have a little meetup here in Orlando of the mines. Fellow students here. That would be great, dude. Yeah. Weather was in the 70s today. I wore a t-shirt and shorts to a little family event earlier. So, what is up, Cassade? It's good to see you in the chat, my friend. I got a lot going on the screen right now, folks. I know. Sorry. I've been jamming since I got back from a little family event here. So, let me try to get this organized and get it in shape. 32 degrees. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I do not take for granted I know it gets hot in the summer. People complain about the heat. I don't mind it. Of course, I work indoors. So, Overhauling How I Lab is the title of this one, folks. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yesterday, as many of you know, I finished I studied every note that I took based on the results of the last written exam. It took me well over a week, but there was even one subject I labbed a little bit just to see exactly what was happening. But that is all done. I'm feeling good about that. I created some flashcards so that I could continue to review those subjects from time to time. But now we're back to labbing. I'm so stoked. Like, I have so much energy right now and excitement about being back at the lab. I got 10 routers running right now. You know how it is, show, when you get back to labbing after preparing for the written for so long. So I wanted to take a little bit of approach. There's a few things I wanted to do because I know that once I started in the workbook again, I would try to get momentum, and it would be hard to sort of go back and do some things I wanted to do that have kind of troubled me with, labbing things and different configurations over and over. One of those is, of course, tftp. And so I thought, before I get gung-ho and get in the middle of labbing, let me look at my lab setup and just see what I want to do differently with the lab setup. Also, what kind of mindset do I need to have? What have I learned what have I learned about learning for the written exam that I need to kind of focus on and get my mind right going into labbing? Because I will say one thing that, I've already labbed half of the INE Advanced Technologies workbook. That's how the stream started. But as I have here, labbing plan changes, I was just kind of writing down some thoughts. One mindset was, well, I'll do the video. In the beginning of the video series, Brian McGann says, we have kind of taken the workbook. It's not in the same order as the blueprint. So we've kind of reordered things. But my mindset was, well, as long as I follow the lab workbook, I'm pretty much going to hit all the topics. And I still think that is true. But one thing I'm going to do different this time around is really focus on ensuring that I understand the configuration changes that I'm making, or the lab that I'm building, right? Knowing now, kind of the level of information that's required to do this, I'm really gonna focus on that. So before, I had VIRL on a PC, on this PC, the streaming computer. I loaded labs using Git. There was a download command where you could just select whichever INE topology you wanted to use, click that, and it would load it automatically. It would boot up the environment and load that up in the lab, which is cool. But I was doing that, and I was doing the INE workbook, and I was doing INE videos for learning, and that was pretty much it. I thought, as long as I go all the way through the workbook and watch all the INE videos, my mindset was kind of like, well, I'll hit Cisco documents as I need to, but that will be kind of how I learn. This time around, I'm changing my mindset. And the mindset now is blueprint, blueprint, blueprint. So from the beginning, well, not the beginning, but from the restart, I'm calling this my reboot, my labbing reboot. After the written exam rudely interrupted my plans, no, it's all my fault. But my focus is going to be, yes, I'm going to continue to go through the INE workbook. I'm going to go back to where I left off. But as I go through, I'm going to make sure that I understand those topics on the blueprint, and I'm not going to assume that just watching the INE video for that topic or just doing the labs, that means I understand it to a level enough to where I know exactly what I'm doing. The other thing I'm going to focus on, just doing the lab is not preparing you to take the lab. Doing the lab is practice, right? The advanced technology workbook is sort of practice, and it's learning phase, right? It's not necessarily memorization phase. I'm going to talk about this more in my video upcoming, which I've been promising, but I want to talk about learning in different phases. This is learning, essentially how to configure these different technologies. But I'm also going to focus as I can. Okay, if I see something, I'm going to need to memorize that. I don't know that. I'm going to do more manual building of things. So, for example, in INE, you may go from one lab to another lab, and it may be all in the same section, like this one upcoming is multicast, and you have to have a base lab set up to start. Well, what I'm going to do is part of that anyway, at least maybe the part I'm not real familiar with, I'm going to do that manually. So I am going to use tftp. I'm going to have a base configuration for like IP addresses and links and things like that. But when it comes to like the multicast, the baseline multicast part, I'm going to do that part over and over and over each lab until I've got it. That's going to help me with memorization. And I'm also going to use flashcards, and I'm going to do mind maps, whatever else I need to do to try to understand those topics and memorize them based on what the blueprint has. So the INE tools are great tools. It's not going to be the only ones I use. That's kind of a lift-off point. But again, point is to learn, memorize, speed. And, I just wanted to take sort of this weekend to get my mind right. Because once I start doing labs, I'm just going to start hopefully go pretty fast. That's another thing. I'm going to try to use this time around agile principles that I've been learning working with Scrum and the training I received to try to view this as sort of, I want to keep a good pace. So I estimated previously that it took me, 11 months to get through half of the INE workbook. Now, granted, I lack a lot of experience in some of these areas, work experience. So that's fine. And I don't want to rush things prematurely, but I also want to make sure I have different checkpoints, or what we call time blocks, to where I make sure that I'm keeping a good pace and not going too far down any rabbit holes. I always work best when I have some sort of timeline. I believe strongly in like the Pomodoro method. So I use Pomodoro timers, and it's just kind of something to keep the pace going, to keep the heart beating, keep the, a rhythm, I guess is what I'm looking for. So that would be my focus. Also, in terms of the lab itself, I will be using EvenG this time around for now. I will say I've got something upcoming, a collaboration with, I believe someone from Cisco on, this has been ongoing for a while, but to look at like an upcoming version of VIRL. So depending on how that looks, obviously I'm going to try it out. But for now, I'm using EvenG on this PC or in Azure. So that's going to depend based on how many credits I have in Azure. Like this month, my credits are about to end. So I've got a lot of credits, but I've had to use some of them for modeling for change windows at work, which has been awesome. That's what it's there for. It's not there for my personal use unless, they appreciate me using it for my personal use because I'm learning more about Azure. But I can't use all my credits for the lab. I do need it for work, building things and testing things out and things like that. We have other test environments, but anyway. But I want to use tftp for configuration management. Once I learn like the multicast, I'll have a base. So I have different tiers. I have a base tier of each router and switch. So that's going to be things like, I've already worked on this one. A couple things I want to do this time around, for example, is no IP domain lookup. I'm going to I created a IP host. So when I do tftp or any other commands, I have this, I'll show you the topology in a minute, but I have a Linux box in this lab now that runs tftp. So IP host, some simple things like that. Another thing I thought of is on the console, we're doing exec timeout 0. So there's no exec timeout, things like that. And that will be my base, real simple. And main thing there is all the interfaces. So I'm going to have the base. Then I'm going to have like the particular technology I'm working on, like multicast. So there's a basic multicast that you would start the lab with, right? And so I'm going to save those once I have them memorized, because after 20 labs of multicast, I may not need to do that. So I'll save another level of configuration. And from there, there may be other lab, maybe at the end of a lab, I might save a copy of like the configuration, what it looks like, just have as an archive of the TFTP. And I'm gonna get that like a GIT. I'm gonna create a repo of that for me to use for posterity's sake. So anyway, that's how we're gonna do the lab this time. And where I'm at now, folks, is setting up TFTP. So I've done this a number of times in Ubuntu, and I think I've got it. I just restarted it to check to make sure. But each time I do this, I have to go to like 2 or 3 different Google searches or more. I think I've got it this time though, but I will save this. I'm going to save these notes. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm not really ready yet to start the multicast lab, which I already have up. This is going to be a multicast tunnel lab. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Like, I haven't looked at all the requirements, but I think what that means is, okay, let's see if our service started first. It did, good. I rebooted, now it's starting on startup. So, yeah, what I think that means though is a GRE tunnel and multicasting over that. I think that's what that is. But anyway, this is the lab that I built. Now I imported someone else a long time ago. I don't even remember who it was. Uploaded a zip file into our Discord and said, here's the INE topology for Eve and G. So I uploaded that, and then I moved this over, and I created a network here, added a network node, and then I added a Linux box, and then I created basically a management network. So I've got it 1.1.1.0/24. Routers are GI03, switches are GI01. And I want to use this for TFTP or whatever else I want to do. This is running in Azure, by the way, because I got plenty of Buco credits right now. But this is it, and 1.1.1.50. I also have, it's not enabled. Like, I had a little issue with Linux, like the local routing table. Like, I would enable this, I'd get internet, but I'd lose this. I got to look into that. But anyway, when I need it, I can connect this box to the internet. So I have a network here for that, cloud network. But yeah, your basic INE configuration, like we know and love. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to go through. I've got TFTP now working and booting on startup. I need to look up what command I'd used to do that. It was not real obvious. Can I look at my history here? I think I can. Yes. So doing the system control command did not work. I had to use this command. And I don't think copy paste is working right. This can, oh, maybe it will. Anyway, I'll save this for you folks. I'll save you a few Google searches if you want to do the same thing. Sudo live systemd sysv install enable tftp hpa. Okay, so yeah, let me document this real quick. Install tftp hpa server. I don't actually need this yet. Well, maybe you do. Start service for configurations. Add, now this of course is a lab, so you wouldn't do this in production. You probably would not be using tftp HPA production anyway. You'd probably be using SolarWinds or some other system. But this is to add add all permission access to TFTP directory. Edit TFTPD HPA options file to allow file rights. Restart service and test. Okay, so this I'm going to save actually to the Git repo here. So it'll be available for anybody. Hello. Then we'll continue to configure our base. There we go. Notes. And G. Well, we'll say, well, actually, this can go in Linux. Yeah. Install tftpd server Ubuntu. Okay, there it is. Done. So that is done. Let's continue configuring our base. As I think of other things, that's the cool thing is I'll be able to add them. I'll be able to edit, you know, the files myself. That's the advantage of TFTPD. There are ways to manage your configurations inside of EvenG Pro. So on EvenG Pro, you can create multiple configuration sets, and you can even edit them, edit the text inside of EvenG. It's really cool. I'm running Community Edition in the cloud, so I don't have that. Plus, this will allow me to edit files even when the lab is down, and I can just load them, right? So what I'm doing now for each one for the base, let me make a note of this. For each one, we want to do no IP domain lookup. We want to do IP host Linux. 1.1.1.100. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do is define this as a management interface. And I remember reading about this for the written exam. I have not gotten to this yet in the lab material. What is the command? Let me look it up. There's several advantages to this, right? Cisco in-band management. Let's go site is cisco.com. MPP, that's what it's called. Man, I could not think of it for the life of me. Management plane protection. Configure control plane. Oh, interesting. Now, what platform is this? Yeah, I don't know if this will work on our platform. This is Cisco iOS XR. So, but let's just see. This may screw up the lab environment too. Yeah, I doubt this is going to be compatible, but let's see. Okay, control plane. Hmm. Look at that. Disconnected. That may be normal though, because I've got two interfaces there. Configures management plane to allow and disallow protocols to enter management plane protection configuration mode. Configures an in-band interface. Oh, that would be better. But yeah, again, I need to find this for Show. I'll have to show you how I run things when I'm done there. I got to run. Okay, sounds good, Show. Appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, this is a time when I need to be pinging in the Discord and management plane protection. Let's see, prerequisites. Ceph must be enabled. Restriction. Uniform management station that access route through non-designated management when the management plane protection feature is enabled. Yeah, this may really this may screw up the lab. Yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you, Show. Take care, bud. Control plane host, management interface. Okay, this is where I would do tftp. All right, well, let's try it. It's a lab, right? If we break it, we just reboot it. So we're going to say This is on router 1. Control plane host. Management. Yeah, I don't see they may have these options disabled under here. That's just for service policy. Is there a VRF on this thing? Show. There's not. Okay. I'm not going to worry about that too much right now, folks. So other than that, these are kind of the base configurations we want. I already have the interfaces configured. So let's do this. No IP domain lookup. And IP host Linux. And we also want to do line console exec timeout 0. Yeah. Show run brief. The thing about the copy paste, it does. Oh, I want to allow. Yeah. Yeah, let's allow. So let's see if I could do that here. Copy. There we go. And we'll write the config. Oh, the other thing I want to do is disable prompts for tftp. There is a way to do that. Yeah, without the confirmation. You can do this with TCL. Yes, that is correct. There it is. File prompt. I think it is tftp prompt, though. File prompt. Quiet. Let me see if that does it. So copy, run tftp Linux base r1.txt. Uh-oh, error opening. Oh man, now what's going on here? This was working before. Did my service not start? Oh, we need to disconnect too. That's probably the issue. Nope, undefined error this time. It said the same before. What did we change? All right, I changed a couple things. This may have broken it. Let's make sure the service is started. Can I paste here? I should be able to. Copy. Nope. It doesn't tell me one way or the other. All right, let's see if that was it. No. I changed the owner. And, well, let me make sure ping one. Well, I did that. I can ping Linux. Service is running. This, I'm wondering if this is the change. Sudo chown tftp. That may be the problem. That was the problem. Okay, I wondered as much. So I'm going to change this to tftp. In fact, let's do that first. Star Wolf, how are you doing this evening? 1 second, I'll check your comment here. Sudo service name status. Okay, cool. Sudo tftpd HPA status. Is that a command? Well, maybe meant to put a space there. Sudo service tftpd HPA status. There we go. Nice. Thank you for that, Star Wolf. Appreciate it. Oh, this is nice. What if I just do sudo service status? Okay. Okay, good. So I'm going to actually add this here. To check the service status, courtesy of Star Wolf. Thank you, Star Wolf. You do sudo service. I've not done a lot of Linux administration. Most of my Linux experience is on Fedora, and it's kind of getting a little out of date now. And it's from a number of years ago. Sudo service tftpd HPA status. Okay, nice. So we're going to add that there. Okay, so this is going to be our base configuration. Oh, the other thing we want to do is file, what was the command? File prompt. Quiet, yeah. Okay, so let me do that over here, router 2. And then we can do services. Same here, mostly the same on other distros. Gotcha. Yeah, Fedora was my go-to for the longest time. I would run also Ubuntu from time to time. It seemed to have better support back then for a lot of the Broadcom drivers. So, and that's what used to give me the most problems in Linux, was Broadcom drivers more than anything else. What a pain. But Linux used to seem to work better with the hardware. It's more mainstream, but sometimes I figured out what to do on Linux or how I did it, and I'd go back and I'd do the same on Fedora. Okay, so that's router 2 is done. Oh, afterwards we want to end. Yeah, that's fine. And then copy, run tftp Linux base R2. Nice. Oh, logging synchronous. Yes. And what that does is so what that does is it waits for your prompt to finish, right, before it interrupts. Logging, I can't spell. Yeah, on line console, right? I was gonna say line console 0. Seems like, thank you for that, by the way. Casadix, appreciate that. I used to have a list of these things because I remember a long time ago watching a video by, there's another one too I probably want to do. There was a video by, when I was doing the CCMP, Chris Bryant. There's no way I would find that now, though. There was another one. You know what? I think I have notes on that somewhere. Let me see. I had some notes on this. But this is it's probably on my Google Drive share, and I probably have not copied it yet to, yes, I'll bet that's where it is. Let's see. There's one more that I seem to remember as being important. I've just about got everything out of here. Most of this is copies of stuff. Yeah, that's not it. I do need to move this stuff over. It's been a while, folks. That can just be deleted. That can be deleted. Well, I need to look at that first. There was one called Cisco or command shortcut, CLI shortcuts. I looked at that though. That didn't have it. All right, well, that's a very good one though. We'll just go with that. We'll figure it out as we go along here. Okay, so let's go back to router 2. Hello, that's really dark. My glasses, I can't. Is that 3 L's? Lamento, Yamento? Hello, how are you? Hope you're having a good Sunday night. Lamento, yeah, man. Good. Glad to hear. I've even tried to change the banner on this Iowa images, and it doesn't really work. Elemento, what am I doing? Hey, no problem. I'm working on a networking lab. So what I'm doing is, this is my network lab here. We're preparing for a advanced Cisco certification called the CCIE for routing and switching. And I'm just getting back to labbing. And I need to kind of get my little lab set up the way I need it to get going in earnest here. And so I have like a baseline. This is something I want each router to do. You're starting to get into networking. That's great, man. That is excellent. You can hang out in here anytime. This is, I will say, kind of an advanced level, but I'm reading a book at the moment to learn. Yeah, sure. Give me a follow. But we do have a great Discord, I will say. Yeah, great suggestion. Thank you, Reckless NTX. That's our Discord, and we do have people starting out in the Discord as well if you want to link up. But hey, you can actually, this is good exposure anyway, because even for CCNA, you don't have to really do a lot of labs. Thank you for that follow. Appreciate it. You don't have to do a lot of labs, but at some point, if you study networking, Computer Networking, a Top-Down Approach. I've heard of that book, but I don't know anything about it. I think I have a book list. Folks, my commands, I'm going to have to go back into my commands. Now that I'm labbing more, I need to revise these commands because they're a little out of date. I have cost, which is... I'm running this in Azure, this lab for right now. Drive, that's gonna be going away. This is my GitHub. Yeah, that's old. Yeah, we got to do some maintenance here. Yep. Okay, I need to leave that up. Reckless, it's just wondering if you are pushing a cert or just learning in general. I am pushing a cert. So for the CCIE, which is Cisco Certified Internet Networking Engineer or Expert, that is the third tier. Well, I say third, but that's practically speaking, pretty much it's the highest tier of certification. So I have my professional. I'm going for the IE. Oh, I know you're going for IE. I meant, oh, gotcha. Sorry. Sorry about that. Yep. So we've got, looks like all 10 routers. Now we need to do our switches. I have written the configs, I believe. Yes. Oh, I have not copied them up though. So we need to copy, run tftp Linux base R2. See if it overwrites. Nice, man. I want to learn more. Python, post my networking, this networking cert. I'm going for some likely Python skills. Base R3. Good. Copy, run, tftp Linux base R4. Copy, run, tftp Linux base. Someone who's in our channel a lot, or at least in the Discord a lot, Dimitri Fiegel, he has a network programmability Twitch stream, and he actually does Python. Well, he works on a lot of different projects, but he's involved in network programmability, so using Python as well as a lot of other tools. But he's at, you definitely want to check out his channel. Dude, pen testing stuff released something in that direction. Yeah, that's cool. I have done some of that work as well. When I was doing consulting, I just don't enjoy security. And you know, when I was looking for this job, every recruiter was asking me, will you do IT security? And I'm like, I know some IT security, but I don't enjoy it as much as routing and switching. But it is in high demand for sure. Base R8 text. And then Starwolf asked, does CIE have SD-WAN? The written exam covers SD-WAN. As of yet, the practical lab exam does not require configuration of SD-WAN. But the written exam, the one I just passed about 11 days ago, does encompass Cisco, the Cisco SD-WAN products. So yeah, you need to know some things about it. There's also in the written, it's kind of the precursor to SD-WAN, which is performance routing, PFR. You have to know a good bit about that. There's several topics that encompass performance routing, PFR, and the logic behind that. So that's not pure SD-WAN, but that is definitely like the precursor to IWAN and SD-WAN products. Yeah, still a lot to learn though, so I hope the book will help. Math equations are pretty annoying to do. Interesting that they're doing. Well, one thing about networking is you need to know math around numbering of devices. So IP numbering, Ethernet addresses, hexadecimal, converting hexadecimal to binary. I don't know if that's what the book is having you cover, but yeah, that's just the nature of the job. It's not often the favorite part of networking for people or the most natural, but it's definitely a requirement. And sometimes you have to be able to do it quickly on your feet, so to speak. Yep, it's also in it. Yeah, any decent networking book is going to go over, identifying your individual hosts on the network and the different schemes for doing that at different network layers. Okay, so we've got this going on the switches. Now, the switch configurations. Y'all, by the way, I recently switched over to like changing my wallpaper. I know this is silly, but my wallpaper to like all my SpaceX photos that I've downloaded off of Flickr, and it's so cool. I'm loving it. All right, this is routers. I'm actually going to document this. So we're going to call this base device configs routers. Switches. I think we can do some of this the same. So let's see. No IP domain. Yeah, you have to use a hyphen on the switch image, which annoys these inconsistencies, man. Anyway, we won't rage about that right now. Oh, it's hyphen here as well. Never mind. I'm just imagining things. IP host, Linux. That worked. File prompt quiet. Hey, that worked too. Man, if all these work, I'm going to be a happy camper. It looks like they will. You know what? I think I want monitor console too, don't I? Okay, this works for routers and switches. Copy, run, tftp, Linux, base, SW1 text. Nice. Copy, run, tftp, Linux, base, SW2. Base, SW3. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that is set for the switches. So what we will do is we can go ahead and shut these guys down. And we're leaving the routers up. Lantamer, this Casadic says, hey Lantamer, the management out of band here. There's a guy with TeamViewer and console cable. Casadics, I have been there many times, so I empathize with that. And you know, it can be a pain, but man, I tell you, I've been grateful for that sometimes. But yeah, it's, and depending on the scenario, I've had some really unusual scenarios where trying to get someone to connect to a console. I remember recently, actually, maybe about a year, more than a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. This was out in California. And I had to get someone to find a laptop with, well, they only had the console cable, and this is different now, but they only had a console cable at the time that was serial. And there was no, you know, serial to USB adapter there at this smaller facility. And there was no computer with a serial port. We finally, after scrounging around, and thanks to some ingenuity of the on-site person, they found an old, well, I say old, it was actually a running system. It was some sort of old, you know, fax solution, like turnkey sort of vendor black box fax solution. And but the point is, it was an older computer and it had a serial port on it. So this person had to somehow figure out the local administrator password, like it wasn't on the domain. They called around, they finally got it so that they could enable the serial port, move the dang thing, like find power for it, get it connected. And then we finally got console access at some point to the router. But man, you talk about a long evening. That was crazy. Lab software. I want to say INE base config. That's kind of an ambiguous name, but anyway. All right, so that's done. Now we can zoom back in a little bit here. Okay, so that part is done. Now I can actually move on, I think. You know, one other thing I want to do is, before I start actually labbing, I hope that link works, my friend. Okay, good, it still does. Oh, file is in the trash. Yeah, I don't know if that'll work. If it doesn't, Star Wolf, that's one of the commands I need to update. Cool. Yeah, in my about page here on Twitch, it may be a little more up to date. So I don't know if it lists Azure or not, but I'm actually using EVNG software now for the lab on my local machine and in the cloud. So one other thing I want to do is I want to have Git running, and I want to create a repo so I can keep copies of all these configs. So let's go ahead and do that. I have a wired connection here to the cloud. Okay, yeah, thank you. Yeah, guys, the best for right now is just look at my Twitch about page or on YouTube page. It's also listed there on my main profile or under About Me, I think. So yeah, I do need to get that fixed. Thanks though, folks. I'm not sure what I did there. Good deal. Appreciate that, folks. All right, so yeah, I've got this issue here. I'm not sure. Wired connection 2. Should come up. Network is unreachable. Okay. Let me disconnect wired connection 1. Something else I have to do sometimes is for this is starting up the DHCP server. Let me just check on that real quick. I see DHCP server. Let me terminal in there. Now this is on the host I'm talking about. The host on EVNG, any that are not familiar with it, it's called basically a bare metal install. But it's essentially the server is running on a Ubuntu virtual machine. So I'm now in there and I want to see if the DHCP service has started. YM sudo system. What is the command? Service. Sir, thank you. The service failed. Let's see. So it tries to load, I guess. Process. Something about it doesn't like the port. Not configured to listen on any interfaces. Yeah, it will probably start this time. I think what happens though is that this interface is not built. The actual interface that it listens on is built once the Eve software like starts. So I guess what I need to do is set it up so that whenever I start, maybe on a delay, let's see, Linux. Service delayed start on boot. Or do a dependency. You can run the sleep before your... Yeah, that's true. Oh, here's a timer. Oh. You can find a few more options. This is Arch Linux, though. I don't know if that would be the same. System control list. Okay. So I create a timer. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Timers are units whose name ends in .timer that control .service files or events. Timers can be used as an alternative to cron. Okay. Timers are systemd unit files. Okay, I like this. Let me go back to... You can create a .timer systemd unit file to control the execution of your .service unit file. So my .service is, where am I? I'm assuming the service would be this. Yeah, ISC this right here. So I would create a this .timer. And where do I put that? Examples. Oh, okay. Under systemd system. Let's try it. Okay, here is service. Wants. So there's like requirements. That's black. I cannot even see. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let me create a timer here. And we'll call it nano And on boot, let's say timer on boot sec. Okay. So we'll see if that, I'm going to add this here. I'm going to put a note. You may need to delay the start of the DHCP service. Wait until Eve and G can create the interface it uses. Create a file called this is, yeah, Etsy systemd system ISC DHCP server dot timer. Add the following text to the file. Didn't copy paste. It says on boot. I'm going to put 2 minutes because of how this thing works. All right, I don't feel I need to test that now, but we'll see. Let's just see right now if we can do GitHub. I should have internet connectivity now. This is a small VM, by the way. I could probably increase it. Probably have to reset this interface. There may be one other thing I need to do here. Huh. Oh, yeah. Okay. I have to do this business. I should probably do a script for this, actually. In fact, I think this is what the... It seems like I have to do this on startup. So let's see if that's the case. Yeah, bash script. Wow, it's just not happy at all today. And that's okay, folks. That doesn't have to be done today. I will come back. That was working earlier today. It's probably just an issue of all the changes. This, folks, is the lab I'm trying to do. Oops, I'm not supposed to really like. This is, so anyone who hasn't been here before, I know it's been a while since I've been labbing on this stream, except for, preparing for the written exam. Now I'm getting back into lab mode. And one thing I need to make clear is that, like, some of these labs I'm doing, they're not actually, this is from a lab workbook from INE. And their links are down below on this channel. If you'd like to acquire the workbook, there are some links here, though, that are public where you can actually see the setup. And let me see what command that is. I think I still have that here. Yeah. So that's the diagram. Their VIRL files are out on GitHub, and the workbook is a great deal. I would encourage you to, if you're going to do these labs. I don't show that on stream. I don't show the workbook. I don't show the solutions. But the diagrams and the actual configuration files are public. But I'm just going to kind of walk through my notes. But one basic thing I can show you to start, at least today, is is this it? Yeah, so this is a topology that I need to set up here. I've done the base configuration, but what I need to do is come in here and configure the, actually part of the base should be the IP addresses. Any of you have done work in INE's workbooks, you know these addresses, they're very consistent. So I need to do that, and then we'll probably wrap it up for the evening from there. And tomorrow, we'll be able to start fresh with the actually doing this multicast lab. So on router 1, where are you, router 1? Oh yeah, I remember you. Interface GI. Is it 1? GI01, yeah. So GI01.146, IP address 15.1.146.1. Oh, right. I have to do .1q incap or incap .1q 146. There we go. No shut. And interface GI 01.13 incap.1q 13 IP address. Hope you all can see that okay. I'm kind of locked into like the colors here because of even G, so, but that's all good. No shut. And then we're going to do interface GI 01.100 incap.1q 100 IP address. You know what? I have the, I'm not sure how they do addressing on that. I have the INE files here. And this is multicast. I thought it would just be under M. Oh, it's initial. That's right. Initial multicast. These .virl files, by the way, these are XML files. So all we have to do is copy it over here. Well, work with me here, Mac. I did not mean to do that. I need to go here. So there's an interesting interface. This is router 1. Oh, you have to do the loopbacks. Yeah, this is used as an unusual. It's 169. For 100.1. Looks like I need to be doing the IPv6 prefix as well. So how is he doing that? 2001, 169, okay. 100, right? Yeah, ::1/64. That means that IPv6 must be enabled. IPv6 unicast routing, IP routing. Okay. And we need to put IPv6 on the other interfaces as well. And where did my chat window go? Chat, lost you. All right, so we'll go back to interface jet 0, 1, 146. 6 address 2001. 151, 146, 1. And interface jet 0, 1, 13. IPv6 address as a 1. 151, 13, 1. And, oh, the tunnel interface. You know, I don't really want to do, I actually need to just, at this point, I only need to do the, I don't want to put this OSPF in here. Yeah, like that has all the answers. What is just the initial? That's what I need to be putting in here, actually. Initial routing or something like that. Basic IP addressing. That's what I want. That's what we want to get set up for today. Okay, IPv6 unicast routing. CDP run is already, okay, loopback, that's right. So I'm going to do interface L0, IP address. Yeah, 150.1.1.1. And the IPv6 address is what? 1001, 150, 111. Oh, it does a 128. Okay. All right, that's good. This is good. We're okay. We are doing the crypto. Because of the DMVPN. so I'm going to go ahead and enter all this. And the interface tunnel. Don't worry, we will be getting to all of that. Oh, privilege level 15. Login synchronous is here. Good. Exact timeout is already here. Nice. No login. Okay. Line VTY. Show run line. Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Show run section line. Yeah, let's do that. Line con 0. Privilege level 15, no login. Line VTY 015. Privilege level 15, no login. Okay. Good. That should be show run brief. Oh, we want CDP run. It may complain about one of these little network interfaces here. Okay, nice. Show IP interface brief. Oh, these are still shut down. The interface itself, 01, must be shut down. Okay, now they're up. And show IPv6 interface brief. Okay. Good. This is what we want, folks. Now we've got 9 more routers to go. Copy, run, tftp, Linux, space, R1. This is our true, like, base. Oh, yeah, that's right. Let me get this guy back in order here. There we go. Boom, right away. All right. Should be able to get through these relatively. So we're going to say what is common to all these. We need to add this and this. We need to bring up interface GI01. Go shut. And I also need to add, well, not all the routers will have this, but router 2 will. Yeah, I'm just going to need to copy that for the tunnel interface for router 2. And then, yeah, let's just do this. Okay. Okay, then let's do our addressing. Interface GI0 123, IP address 15.1.23.2. For your IP on Atlanta, incap.1q23. Interface GI0 100. 169.254.100.2. incap.1q100. I'm going to learn that command. And then, the IPv6 address. So interface GI0 123, v6 address 1001.151.23. Interface GI0 1.100, IPv6 address 2001.5.1.100. And interface L, is it? Oh, I'm doing 1. Why am I doing 1? 0. These are the kind of things that you want to learn in the lab not to do, right? Which one was it on? GI0 100. Yeah. Look at that. IPv6 neighbor discovery does duplicate address detection, DAD, and it works. IPv6 address. Oh, no IPv6 address, because you can have multiple, right? (100, 164). Now ping, do ping 2001. Do IPv6 ping. Well, we'll worry about that later. There's no duplicate address, at least. Okay, so those two addresses there, we got to do our loop back and our tunnel. So for router 2, L0, IP address 150.2.2.2, IPv6 address 2001. How are we doing those? 2001 150, I think. Yeah. IPv6 unicast routing. Yes, I think I've got that in the paste. Let me double check though. Yeah, I'm now pasting these on each router. So that should be there. Thank you though for the heads up there. And the tunnel interface. Okay, so we're going to write that. And it is 8, and it's getting close to this old man's bedtime, so we may stop here and then pick this back up tomorrow. Get our router, we got to get basically this topology all built. And I want to do as much as I can just looking at the diagram first. As you can see, I was doing like a lot of this IP addressing manually. I could just copy paste every router in here. But again, I'm getting back into labbing, want to get back again familiar with the commands and the INE topology, and also the commands that will be new, which some of this will be the multicast stuff is going to be new. So that's where we're at, folks. I'm going to wrap up the stream. I'm going to save everything. And then tomorrow at the normal time, as many of you may or may not know, my schedule is Monday through Thursday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and varies on weekends. So get ready for some more labs tomorrow, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's look forward to a great additional week of learning and labbing and all that good stuff, and sending out good bits to everybody. Hope you have a fine evening, and we shall see you back here soon, tomorrow, in the Land Tamer stream. Have a great night.